thank you very much for having us here, and Adelaide certainly is always an exciting event. Now, with me, two friends that I have known forever, Niki and Prue. And when we heard we were doing this talk, we were like, what do we talk about? Like, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the more I sort of chatted with them, and actually, a couple of people that know them quite well, the more I thought that being not only a high performance athlete, but also, a parent means that you've got, you're a very organised person. And I think if you're an equestrian and a high performance athlete, it puts you in a category that a lot of people are never going to understand. So if you're not a high performance athlete, you've never really seen the detail that goes into, to managing horses and managing teams. And I think this probably helps them manage their families as well. But we're going to find a little bit more out about that. So, excuse me while I get my notes. Both have won here before, both Niki and Prue. They're married to husbands who have also both won here before. And they've both gone from being high performance athletes representing their country to now parents managing a family and a high performance horse and racing business. So we wanted to ask a few questions. And Prue, we're going to start with you. So Prue, you have two boys, so Oliver and Jesper. Now, how old are the boys?
Oliver is 22 and Jessica is 17.
Okay. Did you encourage them to ride?
Probably.
Okay.
Short answer.
Okay.
Well, I didn't, playgroup wasn't really a thing I was going to take them to as toddlers. That didn't sort of work. And as boys don't sit on picnic rugs very well when you go out with anybody. And we, I grew up with horses, and it was just seemed to be the easy thing to do for me. I knew a bit more about that bit.
Right. And then, was there a difference between their interest or involvement between the two?
Well, I guess it changes at various ages. I think Oliver probably led the horse more than he rode it. It seemed a very frustrating business, actually. It took a long time to catch the horse, and then he'd ride it for about a minute, and then he'd just lead it everywhere. So that, lucky it was a good lead pony and it didn't hurt him anywhere. And it would be one day, actually, one of the ponies he came inside, and I said, "What have you done with your pony?" He was about 4 by this stage. Tweedle was the pony's name, and Tweedle was probably about 35. And he said, "Oh, I've just tied him up outside the kitchen." And he'd actually just looped the reins over a piece of conduit that was sticking out of the telecom pit. So, everything happens. This is not a high performance environment, with kids riding. So anyway, we just kept it fun as we could.
Mm-hmm. And Jesper, what's he up to with his riding career?
Well, he never took anything very seriously. And he was very hit and miss. He never did anything the same from one day to another. Okay. So that was just keep catching up to him and keep him occupied. And he did the same. He rode from when he was very small, but keeping him on was a challenge. He just decided to get off.
Okay.
So you always had to have a hand on him to catch him when he decided to exit stage left or right. But he was pretty small, so that was, they're all a bit different.
Yeah. How old are we talking about when he was stunt manning it?
3.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. No, once he sort of got to 5 or 6, he stayed on.
Okay, yeah. And Niki, so you have 4 kids. What are the ages of the kids? We know that. Yeah.
My oldest child over there.
Yeah.
We have a 13-year-old daughter. She's 14 next month. Harry has just turned 12, and then we have. I always thought I was having 3 kids, and I ended up with 4 because I got twins as our third pregnancy. So the twins are 9. They'll be 10 next month.
Okay. And for you guys, was there an active involvement? Like, did you want them to have a certain capacity with horses because, your world and your family revolves around that?
Certainly, I felt that I would be neglecting our duties if I didn't think they should be 20 years old and never have ridden a horse. So definitely I've sort of made it a little bit compulsory. They need to learn. It's a skill I think they should have if they're going to be in the family. They can't just go. I just feel like it would be bad if they couldn't ride at all.
So if you don't have any staff, at least you have 4 children that can catch and turn out and rug.
Well, no, they do. They're not very helpful. They all ride. They're quite good once they're on, but I wouldn't say they're overly keen. I'm certainly the one doing the catching and the saddling up and and putting them on. But once they're on, they're okay. So whether any of them go on, I said at high school they can choose. Up until high school, I'd like them to ride a couple of times a week. They're very lucky. They've got fantastic ponies. Actually, one has come through Prue's family and is now with us, and he is an absolute gem. So they have fun when they're riding because they've got great ponies. But whether any of them go on, I'm not sure.
Who knows?
That will be up to them.
Yeah, well, it'll be very interesting. So, Prue, given high performance background, high performance coach, if they're a bit fluffy with the horses, does that irritate you? Like, is it you can be fluffy and have fun, but then if you're going to do it, you've got to do it well? Or do you leave that up to them and just say, it's your journey, off you go? Or is there a time where you just sort of say, look, if you are going to do it, this is how you're going to do it, otherwise you're going to be injured or hurt or disappointed?
Well, we've always been quite tough on them being safe, and so I don't subscribe to the point of view that some parents like to think that it's good that they have a tough pony because it teaches them a lot and they need to understand it's going to be difficult, because I actually think it's really hard riding horses anyway, and I think even the easy horses can make life really tough, and I always find it quite interesting that for some reason we put them on the safest pony we can find. It's literally been through every single child through Pony Club, so when they're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we find the safest pony, and then for some reason some people like to flick a switch at 12 and go, no, I think they need an off the track horse so they learn. So we've never done that. We've probably only bought one horse for our children. That doesn't mean they've only had one horse. We've borrowed, leased, passed them on. We've had great ponies given to us, so we pass those on. So we've really tried to keep it fun. We've run our own pony camps at home, so obviously I teach a lot, but I've got some great friends that have had children the same age, and luckily boys, so that's been really handy. And so that's been really fun in school holidays where we've done our own sort of pony camp. We've done heaps of, instead of duck goose, it's been pony horse and running around and lots of that sort of stuff. They didn't actually do Pony Club, which a bit sad for me because I did a lot of Pony Club growing up, so that was really fun, but it just was really difficult to fit it in with the local Pony Club with competing. So they started EA eventing from 8.
Okay.
So Shane and I actually at the time were both on the National Eventing Committee, and his niece and my son are a similar age, and they were wanting to compete, and we were like, well, why can't they do it at 8? And so thank you very much.
Yeah. New rules.
So that was, and I think that's been, I think that's great. So that has, because so anyway, so they've done that. So we've just dragged them to all the events that we do, and just tried to keep them as safe as possible. And then the only rule as such that we've had as far as riding their ponies is once they're entered for an event, they had to ride it every day. So entries usually close 2 weeks before. So I'm not paying entry fees for them to not ride their horse, because I was told quite sternly as a 10-year-old, they go a whole lot better if you ride them every day. So I felt, well, if I was doing a financial outlay to enter an event, they can jolly well ride their horse.
Yeah, that's a very good rule. Yeah. So
We wouldn't get to many competitions.
Well, Niki, that was the next thing I was going to ask you. You could have your own pony club at home, but how do the kids learn? What opportunities do you think that is it just riding it at home because there's so many people there and you've got a few facilities that they can pop around cross country and other people there, or do you think that they need to go out and do kid things and get off the property? And do you have a pony club they go to?
Our kids do go to a pony club. Yeah, we don't get to a lot of rally days because they clash with a lot of the eventing competitions, but I do go to pony club. It is a very small pony club. Some days there's 6 kids at rally days and we have 4 of them. So we take up, then I end up coaching down there, and the kids have fun. They do have fun, and I'm certainly keeping it fun for them because they're not overly keen. So I think if I made it too serious, they wouldn't be as keen to do it. So just keeping them fun, but they do lots of other things. They do pony club camps and just try to keep it fun, and we probably only ride 2 or 3 times a week, even when there's a competition coming up. So.
Okay. Yep.
And 4 of them.
Yeah, you got a lot of them.
And I'm the one settling them up. So
oh my goodness.
Do you want to ride? And they're like, no. And I was like, good.
Yeah. Thinking about the question that Prue was talking about choosing ponies for the kids. Are you of the same sort of idea that you want them to be safe and well behaved, and then do you get to a stage where they just end up wanting to get on something that's a bit wild?
Look, I think that actually really depends on the kid. If they're super, super keen, I think they're probably the kid that will get on any sort of horse. But with our kids, I'd say they're not overly keen. If I put them on something that was going to give them a fright, I think that they wouldn't want to ride at all. So I've been very careful in the ponies that they ride because I want them to enjoy it, because I'd like them to keep doing it.
Okay, awesome. Where are we now? Prue, between you and Craig, do you have different coaching styles, or do you coach different disciplines with the boys?
Well, yes, well, we're different people, so I guess we have different coaching styles. But I think it actually just depends what horse they're riding. So Jesper's riding a horse that Craig used to ride 2-star, so that seems to work, that he continues with that. Oliver rode a horse called Sandal Special that I had ridden. So, and actually there's a bit of a story there, because Craig got sacked from riding one of the vendors an 80 centimetres, so there was no way he was going to take on coaching Oliver riding it. So yeah, it actually more depends that. So the horses this weekend that Oliver's riding, Briar I rode up to 1-star and had jumped sort of 1.20 m, so it sort of just became more that I would help him with that horse. So it actually is more about the horse. Doesn't mean that we don't, we have to tag team when we go to an event. If Jesper's warming up and Craig's riding a horse, well then I'll go with Jesper to the warm up. But I do actually go to Craig first and go, so what's the brief?
Okay.
Like, what do I say and not say? So I would say they're managed, but they get a fair bit of free rein. Like we probably take it more like the tennis coach situation. So in tennis, the coach can't, coach from the sideline. So we don't coach from the sideline. We just, you prepare them as best they can, and basically for us, we're predominantly eventers, so they need to go out of the start box, and they need to go out of the start box, and they need to be safe, so they need to be able to think for themselves, they need to make good decisions. You give the information at a rate that they can cope with, and they ride at a level that they can make good decisions riding at that level. So, and that pretty much hasn't changed, and now it's actually a little bit, I'm not going to lie that it's a pinch me moment that Oliver is now, 5-star, but everyone goes, oh, how are you coping? Well, you know what? It's not a whole lot different to seeing him go around 80 centimetres at Mirrabooka when he was 8 years old. At least I know what he's doing now. At least we can have a conversation about it. Before you'd send him out of the start box and you're like, oh gosh, this is a good pony. Anyway, so I'm not sure if that answers the question, but yeah.
Absolutely. How do you? I mean, a lot of very good riders that we all know. I've had them come up to me and say, anything I tell my kid, they're not going to listen to. So I am going to pay you cold hard cash to tell them the same thing that I'm going to tell them, but they're going to listen because it's going to come from you. Now, do you guys have the same issue in any stance? I mean, you're teaching the kids, so it looks like you've got a pretty good relationship there, but has it ever been difficult to try and get the message through? Or?
Well, we've been fortunate because Craig and I have also been involved in development squads in New South Wales, so we drag the kids along to that, and so that's been really helpful. So they just get put in a group lesson, and they just have to toe the line. And they actually they're kind of a bit embarrassed to be our child anyway, so they're not going to point it out to anybody that they belong to us. That's nothing worse than having your mother or father as the teacher. And so they just sort of get dragged along. We've been very, very fortunate that we've had different people based at our place over the years. So Sinead Lowings was there for 4 years, Olivia Barton was there for 5 years. Probably an extra bonus for Olivia, she probably got Oliver through year 12 as a maths and English tutor as well, so that was a real bonus. So we've been really fortunate that they've had mentors like that. But then we've also involved other coaches. So when they were little, Olivia's mother Carleen coached them a lot when they were little at clinics. Rod Brown coaches has done a lot, had a huge influence with Oliver show jumping. and now more Jesper as well. And I think they see us coaching, so they just toe the line. Doesn't mean there's not arguments. I think I've left the arena once or twice.
That's not many times, really. Once or twice in all, it's pretty good.
They don't like it when you walk away. So you just got to keep walking, and that doesn't happen often. So no, I've had that. There's been a couple of lines over the years that I've pulled out, but not many. It's actually pretty smooth sailing, I've got to be honest.
Well, it's something it's pretty amazing. Like, it is great to have that relationship. Niki, you signed up for physio, didn't end up doing physio, went into sports management.
Yeah. So, well, after school I went to university with the intention of becoming a physiotherapist, and it very quickly became apparent I was not going to pass that, because you actually had to attend, and so after the first semester I swapped to a business degree with a sports management major.
And then worked for EA?
Yep, I worked for EA in the national office when it moved actually from Adelaide up to Sydney. I was there for 4 or 5 years, and then went to the New South Wales Institute of Sport and managed the equestrian program with them.
And were a high performance athlete yourself?
I was riding at the time. Actually, when I started at EA, I sold my best horse. So I went on a Trans-Tasman team to New Zealand, and then got offered a lot of money for my horse, which turned out to be the deposit that we used for buying property that we live at now. And then we all of a sudden had a mortgage, and we were just starting a business, so I thought I probably should get a job. So there's at least a regular income, so that's why I was working full time while we set up the business. And now I'm kicking back and Shane's doing all the work.
Yeah, I don't think so. I somehow don't think so. So that's my next thing, is that now all of a sudden you're quietly behind the scenes. I notice on all of your commentary notes, when it says occupation, you write housewife.
Well, that's what I am.
Well, no, I don't think so. So I'm looking at someone who I have the feeling manages Bimbadeen, which is racing and eventers.
It's a very big business. Shane does a lot of the managing of the racehorses. I do the office work, but not so much the actual knowing what horses are doing what every day. There's
you do the admin.
I do the admin. I do.
No horse person
invoicing.
likes that. That's a big job.
Yeah, I do spend a few hours every day in the office. Not enough hours because I'm always behind on emails and paying bills, but it works pretty well. Shane's very busy. He works extremely hard, both on the horses. He starts riding very early in the morning, rides all day long, and can ride 30 racehorses plus, well, probably 40 racehorses, and plus 10 eventers, as well as build a shed or fix a pipe. And so he's very busy, and then he will enter information into the accounting program about what horses have arrived, what they're doing, and then I take over from there, finding out who the owners are, entering all that information, and making sure everyone is billed. Because no one pays you if you don't send them an invoice.
No, this is true. And then manage 4 kids.
Yeah, the kids the kids have a busy schedule. We do a lot of sport. We have OzTag, tennis, soccer, basketball, and little athletics. But thankfully, that's just finished for this season. So no, it's busy, but it's, I don't know. At the start of the day, I've just got a list of things that need to get done, and
you do them.
Work out how to do it.
Okay, and then as a rider, everything you sit on looks amazing. They're beautifully produced. They're successful. We all want to ride them. What's your why? So as a competitor now, given you've got all of these hats that you're wearing, what is it that you enjoy most about the horses?
I mean, I love riding, and I love riding the horses, and I'm very, very fussy. I only ride nice ones.
You do.
Step sideways or shy once, I'm like, oh, here, Shane, you can have that. It did something wrong, and no. So if I'm riding it, it's a horse I love, and I love riding them every day, and it's a good to get out of the office and get them and have your own thing. And when you've got really nice horses to ride, it even makes it that much more enjoyable.
Well, I'm glad you find time to do it, because they all look amazing, and you have to make sure you're not just a housewife. Okay. Now, Prue, can you, I don't know if you can sort of explain the feeling, but we all know what it's like to be, an athlete, and you get nervous for your own performance, but then all of a sudden when you're getting nervous for somebody else, like, that's really different. But you've got all these hats because you are a high performance coach. So you coach people who are not your kids at a really high level, and that's nerve-wracking enough as it is to watch your clients go out. But then when they're your kids, How does that differ? Like, what is the difference? Is there a different nervousness? Is there a different anxiousness? Or is it exactly the same, like you said, whether it's 5-star or 80 centimetres?
Well, yes, luckily I have, as you said, been in the high performance coaching world for quite a while. So I do put on that hat. I do put on the coaching hat for sure. So like for, say, Oliver this weekend, or, you know, if it's just for going 2-star. I think the added stress, it's a little bit more like what I would say about going to an Olympic Games or a World Championship with a team, is just hoping that you've crossed the T's, dotted the I's, you know, everything's right, everything's working, they're going to be fit enough. So it's not really any different to what I'm probably going through, what the athlete would be going through. Probably when I'm doing it from a team perspective, it was more about, you know, have we got everything ticked off as a team? It's not necessarily just that individual day to day, whereas now I'm back to living it day to day, which I would be lying if I said I didn't find it more stressful than when I was doing it myself, because it's a little bit feeling like you're in the passenger seat and someone else is driving, whereas when you're actually doing it and competing it at that level, you're actually driving the car, so you sort of, you know, and it's your desire and it's your thing, so you probably, you can ride the lumps and the bumps and that's okay, whereas when I feel like I'm in the passenger seat, you know, are we prepared for the lumps and bumps? Have I done what I'm supposed to do? Am I letting down the rider? You know, so I think it's probably no different to, you know, if you're the, you know, what's his name? What's the Mercedes guy? You know, I would code up Wolf with the Mercedes team. You know, the driver's got to do their job, but have you actually given them a vehicle that's going to do the job for them? So that's a little bit, and the added bonus is obviously blood's thicker than water, and we've actually bred the horses that are here this weekend as well. So then you're like, wow, I've got a fair bit of skin in the game.
Yeah.
So it's more, I take it more as a responsibility, but I think getting better at it, getting better at making sure that we learn from stuff and every preparation is better. And, you know, I don't think there's too many young people in the room, but I liken it to, well, maybe I shouldn't actually go down that path, but I think, put it this way, like when, you know, when Oliver was doing his first 3-day event 2-star at 14, he had less control of the wheel then than what he has now. Okay, so my job ultimately is actually not to be here. I would love to come to Adelaide and I'll just be in here for 4 days, 3 days, right? Maybe, I don't know, but that's my goal. I'm not trying to, you know, but he's 22. Like, there's people that have been doing this. Well, how old's Ringer? Where's Shane? How old's Ringer? 52, and I'm sure there's still going to be stuff after this week. He'll be like, yep, I learnt this, or I learnt that, or this happened, or that happened. So it's, you know, he's got to learn. So a bit like the tennis coach, you sit on the sideline, and at the end of the day, he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do?
Yeah.
You just, you know, so you prepare as best you can, and then it's really up to him.
And lastly, what's your why? What do you love about riding, and what's the thing that keeps it going for you?
Well, I'm probably a bit like Niki. Well, actually a lot like Niki. I only like nice horses. We breed a few, so I've got to make sure the boys are now, Oliver's doing the breaking in, and Jess has started a few this year as well. So I always make a joke with them and say, well, when you can kick it at the wrong time, pull it in the mouth at the wrong time, and lose your balance, and they're fine, I'll ride it then. Yeah. So that's it. And I've got one at the moment that's not quite like that, but anyway, she's really cool and jumps really, and I've got to jump really well, just jump really well. And it's just really fun. It's good for fitness. I don't know, I just like doing it.
It's just what you do.
It's just, well, I do like it, yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, ladies, thank you so much. That was absolutely fantastic. And can't wait to see how tomorrow goes. Amazing.